Welcome back, everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend. We're going to dumb around a little bit today on the steering setup on this thing. So while I was at the hardware store the other day, I got a couple bigger flat washers. My plan is I want to make my own steering wheel, which is dumb. I don't know. It's just what I want to do. So what my plan is to take a 3/4 washer, weld it to my steering shaft, take another 3/4 washer, build my steering wheel off of it, and then I'll bolt these together with like 3/4 inch bolts, which should be plenty strong. What we got to do first, set up a bolt pattern for the two to come together, to bolt them together. Now you can buy your own steering wheels, obviously. If you're wanting to keep this low budget, you can build one like I'm doing. I'm an idiot. Do whatever you want at your own risk, just forewarning. But you can buy your own steering wheels, Amazon, eBay, local speed shop, find another one from a Go-Kart. Buddy of yours has got an old pile of go-karts or lawnmowers laying around. I just want to build one. I think it'd be cool. Quit talking, we'll get busy. So what I need to do is decide what I want for a bolt pattern, draw out a symmetrical pattern that I can, as close as I can, and then I'll punch these, drill the holes, and then we got something to start off on. So that's what we're going to do. So what I'm thinking is 3/4 inch bolts. You could probably do this with a compass and hit edges and make circles and whatever. This is hillbilly ingenuity. I'm going to go right here off the center of the hole here to the outer, and I'm going to make me a little cross. So like that's going to be my first hole. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a tape measure and go pretty much the center, and I'm going to move my fat hand, I guess. I'm going to touch right on the inside edge of this hole, and just judging off of this distance compared to the other, I'm going to say 1 inch 3/16. I'm going to put me a little dot so I know that that's pretty close. So let's spin this around. I'm going to line up my 1 3/16 on the edge. Probably should burn 1 inch, so I'll just use the 2 3/16, and then I know my 1 is the edge, so I get more accurate. So in theory, these should be pretty close. So I don't know, can you guys see that? We're right there. So what I'm going to do here, put this little X, put this little X, center punch it, clamp the two together, and then drill them. So we got everything drilled. Went like 1/8 inch to 1/4. I got 3 bolts, 3 lock washers, 3 nuts. We got some old junk wrenches from a yard sale, and then I got this old length of chain that I used to use to pull engines. What I'm thinking, I'll find 3 wrenches, common sized, or at least pieces of them that I can use, and we'll cut them, bend them, whatever we need to do. And then I want to make a chain steering wheel, and I'll wrap the chain around something for the size that we want, go through and tack weld it for now. We'll go through and finish weld it all, and then we'll have a cool steering wheel, and then we can move on to the shaft and the U-joints and whatever we come up with there. How big do we make it?
That's what she said?
We'll find something. I'll wrap it around it for length, cut it, and then we'll end up just tacking, just for testing purposes only, just to make sure it's what we like. And then we'll go back and actually put some decent beads on it. Alright, we got this thing thrown up here on the welding table. See how our steering wheel looks here. I think this thing's going to work out pretty good. Looks cool. We'll get this thing centered up. Pop us a hole in there. I'll probably throw the engine back on it. We might throw a column up toward it just to see how things are going to be or live. Pretty much this shaft's going to have to dart down pretty quick to clear the engine. I want to run the shaft underneath of everything and out the front. I'll have a tab sticking up. A little 1/8 inch bit of I got the old tried and true Harbor Freight, not typical, the upgraded spiral cut step bit. And just like that, 3/4 of an inch. Now this is exact ID, but that's okay. We're just doing testing mock-up of where this thing's going to be. Something like that. And then of course that will get the bottom attachment point will get welded to this, and then the steering wheel will bolt to it solid. So as you can see, I got a bunch of this. This stuff's called 3/4 double D steering shaft. I bought a big piece of this stuff whenever I was doing my Vega car for the first rendition, and this is actually a joint that I bought to use on it also. And I think I went another route. I think I changed the whole column out. But at any rate, this is stuff that I have. I understand you're not going to have this stuff necessarily. You can go pick this stuff up pretty reasonable. It's not horrible. You don't need a whole lot. I mean, what's the whole length of this thing? 3 foot? You're not going to need a lot of this material. This is a 3/4 ID heim joint, which I'm going to use to hold my column. You could do this other ways. You could use a piece of pipe and run your shaft through it. Basic go-karts aren't that elaborate or fancy. I still got my marker from whenever I built the front axle here, so I'm gonna go off that line. That'll be center right here. I could favor this up, I could favor it down, doesn't really matter. I'm gonna have to clearance decorative camshaft, not well thought out, but I think it's a cool component. There's junk laying around, so that's what we're gonna do. This 1x2. If you're new to the video, to the series, you can back up and watch all the videos. This is just a cool little rat rod go-kart that I had in my mind. I wanted to build, reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of people that build this style with wheelbarrows and wagons, but I guess I wanted to jump on the wagon. No pun intended, but I think it's a cool little project. I chose to build mine out of 1x2 rectangle tubing. It's 1/8 inch wall overkill, but it's going to be strong and it'll last forever. That's my theory. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get this hole drilled, step it out to 3/4. Look at that. That'll work just fine. So it has a seam right here. Then I'll just take a drill bit and clean that up. I'm only going to use a 1-inch piece because I'm going to weld it on the face of this and my shaft will come through it. So this is 1-inch OD. So I get a 1-inch bit and drill that out. I got my 1-inch OD pipe, 3/4 ID, cut to length, recessed inside the tube, and I'll go around and weld this in. I got the pipe insert in, welded, took a drill bit, cleaned the hole out. Now my 3/4 double D round stock fits in. It's got a little bit of movement, which is fine. I'd rather have just a little bit than be tight. Okay, so now we're at the point I'm going to throw the steering wheel back up in it, figure out how long my drop shaft needs to be with the double universal joint to run underneath the engine plate. And I'll probably end up putting a piece of pipe up here also, or run a brace down just to help support it, because I don't want to rely just on the sheet metal, right? So, thinking this is the guy I'm going to use. I hope I have a shaft long enough. That might actually work. This can be long because we're going to cut it to fit anyway.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
I think that'll clear. Get something to shim this up to where it's level, and I'll bring you guys in for a closer look. Alright, so I decided I had a lot more of this 1-inch tubing versus me trying to fight and put a heim joint down here, building another bracket and a brace to hold it. It's going to see a lot of torque, a lot of side load. I decided I was just going to take another piece of this tubing, and I cut a piece 7.5 inches, and I'm going to stick it up here and then tack weld it, and then the shaft can ride in it, and it'll last forever, as long as I'm around, I guess. This thing pulled up here, get some tacks on it, see how it looks, how it feels. Let me fight absolutely everything. That should hold it for now. So you can see the front's still flopping, but that's because we don't have no anchor point up here yet. I think that's going to work just fine. I need to create one up here at the top, and we should be steering. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take, you guessed it, another piece of pipe. I'm going to weld a washer right on top of this thing. One, that gives me a flat mounting point.
What did he say?
Flat mounting point. And then I'm going to take this washer and slide it up the shaft where you can't see. And I'm going to put tack welds on the top side for now. And of course, but I'm going to give myself enough room that I can still pull this shaft apart to get everything out. This gives it a resting point on this washer, round bar, and I can put, say, 4 pieces on this to angle brace it. Pivot points, mount points for our steering, and it should be nice and solid. It's a go-kart. It's not a race car. So let's go ahead and do this. Get this tack welded, and we'll slip it up in there and test it, see if it works. In my mind, it should, but I'm an idiot. Few tack welds. Starting to debate on how high I want to go. This stuff's fairly cheap. I go to Menards, kind of a big box store, and that stuff's really cheap. 3.5. This is 6 inches, and that'll give me 4 points to tack weld this up in. You gotta remember, at the end of the day, we're not building a Corvette. It's a go-kart.
I'm blind! Oh shit, I'm blind! What's that, man?
I went ahead and fabbed up my pitman arm and my tie rod end attachment points for my spindle. This piece I made 4.25 inches. Drilled my 3/4 hole, drilled a 3/8 bolt. These corners will get rounded. And then I made these 2 tabs, but they'll attach to the spindle. I picked up some pedals because time-wise, I don't see the point in wasting 2 or 3 hours to make something that literally I can buy for pennies on the dollar as far as material costs goes. I bought a whole kit, return springs and everything. I bet you'll never guess where they come from.
Let's say China.
Yep, that place. Amazon or eBay, one of the two. Nice, heavy duty, 3/16 steel. Has threaded bolt, different attachment points. Has return springs, mocked up. Also, I ordered the torque converter. So once that comes in, hopefully this coming week, it'll be hopefully next week's video, you guys will see that. And then I can final position the engine, know where my sprockets are going to run for the jack shaft and all that stuff. And then I can get these pedals mounted, something like that. And I want to put like a little floorboard down here to catch the back of your shoe, like your heel, keep your foot from dropping down. Sheet metal that part in, just so it definitely won't drop through. And then you have a nice place to rest your foot. That's where we're at, guys and gals. I hope everyone's liking the video so far, liking the content on this thing. You guys are killing it. I'm getting a lot of likes, a lot of thumbs up, a lot more new subscribers. If you are new, welcome to the channel. This is just a side project that I got onto, and it's a lot of fun. It's picked up a lot of steam on the channel. Make sure you guys aren't subscribed. You click the subscribe button. You click the bell for notifications when I have a new video coming out. I try to get them posted Saturday night, Sunday morning, somewhere around there. We need to get back on the car. Decided I changed a few things on that off camera. I'm actually going to lower the engine more, shove it back more to get me some more clearance in the car that I want here in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. Really appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.